Welcome to Are You Quizzing Me? I am Vineet Nair with my co-host Aditya Kashyap. This is a quizzing trivia podcast show. Join us as we dive deep into history, science, pop culture, and so much more. Let's get quizzing. And we're back for episode number 94 of Are You Quizzing Me? Your favorite quizzing and trivia podcast show. Aditya and I are back for another round of quizzing. And let's start off today's episode without any further ado. As usual, I will be asking an audience question, which I will be answering at the end of today's episode. The first X being the object in question, were converted flintlock pistols that used gunpowder. One of the first actual X built for the purpose was invented by a German chemist named Johann Wolfgang Doberreiner in 1823. The development of ferrocerium by Karl Orr von Wolfsbach in 1903 has made modern X possible. What is X? Let me repeat the question. The first X were converted flintlock pistols that used gunpowder. One of the first actual X built for the purpose was invented by a German chemist named Johann Wolfgang Doberreiner in 1823. The development of ferrocerium by Karl Orr von Wolfsbach in 1903 has made modern X possible. What is X? I will answer this question at the end of today's episode. I think it's high time that we should start doing video because Aditya is actually having, I think I can classify it as performance art going on right now. I really wish we were recording video for this because this is just gold. Because while I'm giving the intro, Aditya is performing a tail malish on himself right now. We've gotten too comfortable. This is like, yeah, nobody can see me. I can do whatever I want.
What lies, Vineet? Why are you misleading a poor listener?
Tail malish. I kid you not. An actual tail malish. If you go back and listen to the recording, you'll probably find that I hesitated for a second in the middle of the first time I read the question because Aditya out of nowhere just brought up this bottle of oil and I was like, what is going on? I was reminded of that British show Countdown where whenever there's a countdown going on, Jimmy Carr just brings out some kind of prop and does something really absurd. And this was like one of those kind of incidents and I just wish I had it recorded on video. But I'm not going to let him edit this out, by the way. For everybody, Aditya takes it so seriously that he actually prepares for this like a wrestler. Tail malish to the brain, cool down the brain. He's very serious about quizzing.
That's true. I do care. Actually, I recommended in my previous episode the people I mostly admire, an interview with the lady who has currently won the World Trivia Championship, World Quizzing Championship. And been on Jeopardy All Stars and stuff. So quite the legend in the space of trivia. And her power move apparently is she pulls out knitting when these quiz competitions are happening, and she'll just be knitting in the process. And apparently it's one of the most intimidating things for her opponents because they're all just holding their head and trying to figure out the answers to these trivia questions. She's just calmly sitting there and knitting. The other thing which she does, which is apparently even a bigger power move, is she does a manicure. Sits there and she manicures her hands while answering trivia questions. So I guess this was my power move, Vineet.
Yeah. And for our international audience who may not have understood, tail malish is basically a colloquial Hindi term for an oil massage on your head. So Aditya was literally applying oil to his head while I was giving the intro to the podcast. We should really start recording this. And because when we do, people will have a 2-for-1 thing. They'll get a quizzing program plus performance art from Aditya.
I will genuinely entertain my audience with, if not the trivia, then definitely the performance art. But today I have some entertaining trivia. So should I be the one to start off today's episode?
Yes, please go ahead.
All right. So since we are talking about, let's say, the romantic image of me applying oil to my hair, I'm going to talk about a romance novel.
Talk about an image only a mother could love.
Oh, I doubt my mother would also appreciate, but all right. I speak of a novel, A Pair of Blue Eyes, This is by the author Thomas Hardy. Have you heard of either of these, either the novel or the author?
Thomas Hardy, yes. Far from the Madding Crowd, Tess of the D'Urbervilles, yes.
Yeah. So published in book form in 1873. So it's been a while. The story had three main characters: Elfridge Swancoat, the 19-year-old heroine; Stephen Smith, her first suitor who is socially inferior but also has childish innocence; and Henry Knight, the second suitor, who is morally superior and dominant but sexually inexperienced and immature. So these are the three main characters. I refer to a specific scene in this novel wherein Henry Knight, in a very dangerous situation, chooses to review the entire history of the world and eventually is rescued by Elfridge in a rather creative way, I must say. Just for clarity's sake, I have not read the novel, so I've only read versions of where this trivia has been adapted from. So I'm just giving a description. If anybody has read the novel, please do correct me if I describe it incorrectly. This is the part where Henry Knight, in a very dangerous situation, is reviewing the entire history of the world and is eventually rescued by Elfridge. Tell me, what is the source responsible for the world of pop culture today?
Okay, first question. When somebody's reviewing the history of the world, why do they need to be rescued?
Because he was in a dangerous situation.
Okay, so he was reviewing the history of the world while being in a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I have no clue where this is going. Something with pop culture. I have read a couple of Thomas Hardy novels, but not the one in question. The first time I'm hearing of this one. So, nope, I'll need some kind of clue here.
Okay, so I do have some clues which, in a way, do lead to the answer, but perhaps not instinctively. So maybe give it some lateral thinking. The first clue that I'm going to give you is that this was not in a novel form when it was first written. It was serialized between September 1872 and July 1873 in a magazine.
Oh, is this a cliffhanger?
Ooh, wow, Vineet, I am just never not impressed at your trivia abilities. Yes, it is a cliffhanger. So you're right. It was a serialized story that was, as serialized stories are, told over multiple snippets. And in one of these snippets, it ends with our second protagonist, our second suitor, Henry Knight, hanging off of a cliff.
Oh, okay.
And he chooses this moment to review the entire history of the world. And is rescued by a rope of Elfridge's underwear. Now, I don't know how this was practically carried out in the story, but that's the story. So Elfridge, the heroine, her underwear is somehow used to make a rope.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, we're talking about the 1700s, right? So they had layers and layers of underwear, so to speak.
I guess, perhaps some lace, some elastic, or was there elastic in the 1800s?
Yeah, petticoats, multiple petticoats, I'm guessing. Yeah,
maybe. Okay, so something along those lines. And that is used to rescue Henry Knight from the cliff off of which he's hanging. And that is apparently very commonly accepted as the origin of the term cliffhanger. Because the story in that particular serialized edition ended at that scene, and then the next edition carried on from the next scene where he's rescued. So cliffhanger comes
I have a fan theory, which I just made up right now on the spot. This was not actually a cliffhanger. I don't think Thomas Hardy understood what he was doing. Or actually, I think the audience didn't understand what Thomas Hardy was doing.
Okay.
Thomas Hardy was taking the entire novel in a science fiction direction.
Okay.
But people didn't realize it. And so then when they saw the ending and people were excited, he realized, oh, okay, maybe I have an opportunity here. And then he shifted from science fiction to drama. Now, I'll tell you how this happened. Stay with me here.
No, I'm here.
Yes. So, what is said to happen when you are about to die?
Oh, your entire life flashes in front of you, yeah.
Yes. Now, if he's reviewing the entire history of the world, which means he has lived the entire history of the world, which means he is an immortal, which means that he cannot die. So this was actually him teasing the fact that he was immortal.
Oh, wow.
And he was, in fact, the man from Earth.
A great movie.
Yes.
I love how when both of us have not read this novel, we are just forming fan fiction from it. Pretty much how internet works. You just make assumptions based off things you have no idea about.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, cool. But avid readers, bibliophiles would know that cliffhangers grew in prominence or became a staple because of Charles Dickens, somebody we have spoken about in previous episodes. Charles Dickens and his episodic stories printed in magazines very often use cliffhangers to trigger desperation in his readers. and they eagerly awaited the next iteration of the story. But the word itself most probably comes from this particular instance in a Thomas Hardy novel by the name of A Pair of Blue Eyes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, I'm struggling for a segue here. Probably something clever should come to me later, which always happens after I finish recording the episode. But let's move from the life of this very interesting individual, Mr. Henry Knight, to the life of another very interesting individual.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, weak, but chalo. X started out as a brilliant math nerd, going so far as to start work on a doctorate in math at Northeast Louisiana State College before being thrown out for having an affair with an undergraduate.
Oh boy.
Yeah. X pursued a conventional career for a while, working as a programmer for the Apollo program at NASA, and from there at Booz Allen Hamilton and Lockheed. In 1986, X created Y, the first of its kind, which has made him a household name, at least from the mid-90s onwards. In the years since then, he has dabbled in yoga, biochemistry ventures, cryptocurrency. It's also suspected that he may have secretly killed his own father. He has also been a 2-time presidential candidate. Who am I talking about? And what is it that he created, which was the first of its kind?
Presidential candidate. I'm assuming this is America we're talking about. He seemed to have...
Yes, he was an American presidential candidate. Twice.
But then not a serious candidate.
He was serious about it.
No, I meant like the Republican candidate or the Democrat candidate. I'm assuming not one of those.
He was not one from the major two parties, no.
Okay. So it gives me a Tea Party vibe.
No, the Tea Party is practically the Republican Party. They don't go separately right now.
Fair enough. Potentially might be a murderer.
Yeah.
Came up with something in 1986 that was the first of its kind. There's something to do with yoga as well. Mathematician.
So mathematician, started pursuing a doctorate in math, worked as a programmer for NASA for the Apollo program, went from there to Lockheed Martin. 1986, he created Y. That made him a household name in the mid-90s onwards. Has dabbled in cryptocurrency, yoga, biochemistry. It is suspected he may have secretly killed his own father. Maybe others as well.
Huh? Wow.
Let me add that as a clue.
Wow.
Has also been a 2-time presidential candidate. Which household name am I talking about?
Household name?
Yeah, this person is a household name. At least, I mean, like in most households. Okay, let's put it this way. Even if you don't say most household people, most people of our age definitely know this name.
Okay. I'm going to take a wild guess. I don't know why. Is he famous in American households or like across the world people don't know him?
Oh, no, definitely. We also know him.
Because for some reason, I don't know why. First name that came to my mind was RFK Jr. But...
Oh, very good, but no. I don't know if he's actually killed anybody. He has killed, or at least has... what was that? A roadkill, right?
Oh, so many stories. So many crazy stories about roadkill and trying to... eat the meat out of roadkill and whales.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot of crazy stories over there. Please go Google it if you haven't heard of that. I don't think he has been accused of or even suspected of killing people. I don't know why I'm going to professional boxing or wrestling. I'm going into that space. Just because you said the worldwide name. Is it by any chance George Foreman?
Oh, Foreman Grill. The Foreman Grill I don't think was the first of its kind, but chalo.
That's true.
It's the most famous one of it, but it's not George Foreman, no.
This is way out in the left field, so that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, then I will request a hint.
But again, the George Foreman Grill not so much famous in India. I'm telling you, this name is also famous, at least in people of our age and younger.
Okay, then I'd need a hint.
Okay, there was a recent documentary about this person on Netflix.
Man, Netflix turns out documentaries like no one's business. Not even their own business. I don't know what they're doing with the documentaries. The only one I can think of is that the 2 kids who murdered their parents, but that has nothing to do with anything.
No, when I say recent, I mean like in the past 2-3 years. Let's say 2022. That's when the documentary released.
No, man, I have no idea. 2022 documentary, I have no idea.
Okay. This person famously once said, if I'm found hanging, you can be sure I was murdered. Like, I'm paraphrasing. That's not exactly the words he used, but that was his intent. That if he was ever found hanging, that he would have been murdered.
This should lead me to the person. Or is that just like a famous quote?
Yeah. Okay, let me just rephrase the question or point you towards certain points in the question. He is suspected to have secretly killed his father and maybe others as well. He famously once said that if he was found hanging, it would mean he was murdered. He created the first of something, and that was in 1986. That made him a huge household name, at least in people of our age and younger. And he was a doctorate in mathematics and a programmer for the Apollo program at NASA.
You already told me these things. You didn't add anything else.
Yes, but I'm pointing you to try and put these together and then see if any name is clicking. Because this guy's got a very unique life. I don't think anyone else I've heard of, maybe Christopher Lee, has had a more fascinating life.
Oh, wow. Since you said Christopher Lee, but no, I don't think this makes sense. I was going to say Dolph Lundgren, but because he also is...
No, but he's got a master's or a PhD in chemistry.
Chemistry, right? Yeah, chemistry, yeah. And poor guy, he just, I think, was battling cancer, but recently, I think, was declared cancer-free.
Oh, that's an amazing Dolph Lundgren story I want to say, but I'll tell it after this question.
Okay, then are we talking about an actor?
No, not an actor. I've already told you what profession this guy's in.
You said he was a mathematician when he studied. You didn't say what he's doing now.
Yeah, then I told you that he worked as a programmer for Apollo.
Yeah.
And then worked from there to Lockheed.
What is he doing now?
Okay, I'll give you that clue. He's no longer alive.
Oh.
And that will point you to that quote that I gave you. That he once said that if he were found dead by hanging, it would mean that he was murdered.
Is this Jeffrey Epstein?
Oh, no. Epstein was nowhere this interesting. At least not when he was alive. Yeah.
I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was interesting in the worst possible ways. But okay. Hanging, no longer alive, and is dead now.
Household name from the mid-90s.
Household name?
Okay, I'll give you the field in which he's famous. IT.
No, man, I have absolutely no idea who's this person in IT, who's this.
Okay. This guy very famously was suspected of murdering somebody in Belize. He faked a heart attack to get away. And while he was being pursued by the police was apparently when he decided to propose to his third wife. Finally, many years later, the murder case was, I think, closed in civil court in Florida, and he was ordered to pay $25 million. And then after that, there was a case of tax evasion for which he was arrested in Spain and was awaiting extradition to the US when he was found hanging in a jail cell.
What? Who is this person? I have no idea. Sounds like a bunch of random made-up stuff.
No. So I'll tell you who it is.
Yes, go for it.
This hopefully will elicit some kind of response from you, because I guarantee you that you have heard of the guy, and the moment I tell you the guy's name, you will tell me what the product is.
How about you tell me the product and then I'll give you the guy?
It's the same thing.
Okay, fine.
The name of the guy is John McAfee.
McAfee Security... Wait, I'm sorry. What? Did he... I don't get it. He has been accused of killing his own father? What?
Yes. Okay. So let me rewind the tape. Okay. The person we're talking about is John McAfee.
Okay.
Who created the McAfee antivirus software, which is the first commercially available antivirus software. And I think anybody who's ever owned a computer at some point would have seen McAfee because it comes bundled with everything.
Sure.
Yes.
I had no idea.
He has had inappropriate relationships with women, as evidenced by this. He had a very abusive and frankly very tragic childhood. And during, I think it was a Wired or a Vice interview, he accidentally, I don't think he knew the cameras were rolling, and he kind of mentioned that he did something about it when he was talking about his father abusing him and his family and all. He said that forced him to do something about it. And then he kind of walked it back and said, oh, that sounds like an admission. So he may secretly have killed his father. Yeah, so that's there. And he was also implicated in the death of a man called Gregory Fowle, who was a North American immigrant in Belize, for which he was on the run for around 6 years. Yeah, he ran for the American presidency in 2016 and 2020 under the Libertarian Party. But he wasn't able to get the party nomination. He has then dabbled in biochemistry, he's dabbled in cryptocurrency, in yoga and whatnot. Very interesting fellow.
Okay. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is another interesting story. When he was being not hunted, but the police were looking for him to question him about the death of Gregory Fall, he escaped by burying himself in sand for several hours with a cardboard box over his head. And then he got out of jail once by faking a heart attack.
Wow, this is very interesting.
Yeah. I would recommend people watch the documentary that's on Netflix. It's called Running with the Devil, The Wild World of John McAfee. And also just Google John McAfee. The number of stories you find on him are like insane. The guy was nuts. And I use the term scientifically.
Wow, okay. This is hilarious, yeah.
Before I forget, the Dolph Lundgren story. The most interesting Dolph Lundgren story I've heard, and apparently this is true, but don't quote me on it, is that one day in Spain, a couple of robbers, they were robbing this house.
Mm-hmm.
At night, they got into the house and they were robbing it, and then they suddenly saw a big picture. And then they realized that whose house it was, so they put things back and then they left. Turns out it was Dolph Lundgren's house. He was not even in the house, only his wife and kids were there. It's only when the robbers were caught that they said that we saw that it was Dolph Lundgren's house and they'd seen the Rocky movies and they were like, no way are we messing with this guy's house.
Right. I think I've heard this before.
Yeah.
It's a cool piece of trivia. I love it.
So, your turn.
Speaking of somebody who has had a seminal acting career, Dolph Lundgren, I move on to movie-related trivia. So you have to tell me which movie are these two pieces of trivia related to. I think you'll be able to guess after the first piece of trivia and then we'll move on to the second. So this question has two parts. So tell me what the name of the movie is that the first piece of trivia is related to, and then I'll tell you the second funnier and more interesting trivia as well.
Okay.
Recently, this went viral, even though this news first emerged in 2022. So it just resurfaced and people have been sharing it in social media again. At the beginning of this show, the director came out on the day of passing of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022.
Okay.
And said that, you know what, we're all sad and devastated and we mourn the passing of the Queen. And this was being performed in London at the West End. And he said, but as the show must always go on, we are going to perform the show as is written. As written.
Okay.
He went off stage and then the show started. And the reason that he used the phrase as written, and the reason it went viral again or was viral back in 2022 also, I guess, is because it is written in a way which was a very funny juxtaposition to the fact that Queen Elizabeth II had just passed away. Do you have any idea what show I am talking about? What West End show am I talking about?
Oh, theatre. Theatre is not my strong suit, especially the West End. Macavity?
No. So I also said it's in relation to a movie. So this particular musical has been adapted into a movie very recently.
Oh, it's been adapted into a movie. Wicked?
Yes, exactly. So Wicked
Oh,
is...
ding dong, the Queen is dead. Okay. Okay, now it makes sense. Yes.
It is good news, she's dead. That's how basically the show starts.
Yeah.
It starts with this chorus of good news, she's dead. The witch of the West is dead. The wickedest witch there ever was. The enemy of all of us here in Oz is dead.
No, God.
That's how the show starts. And that's why the director, or I believe the producer, whoever it was, came out before the show and declared that we will be continuing to do it as written.
Nice.
Because just after saying that we are sad that the Queen has passed, that's how the show started. So there's a very interesting clip. Go see it. And it's hilarious. And people have been sharing it again recently for some reason. But this happened back in 2022 when she passed away. Okay, so you got the name of the movie. This is, of course, a Wicked, which has recently been adapted and has gotten some decent reviews. I have not seen it yet. But hey, if you go watch it, let us know if you liked it. And maybe we'll include it in a pop culture recommendation. Who knows? In any case, there is a lovely piece of trivia, a very funny piece of trivia, again, that is attached to this movie. So to promote the movie, Mattel introduced a couple of dolls as promotional, as tie-in material for this movie. So there was obviously the Wicked Witch and the Princess, and all of these things were being sold as toys for kids to purchase alongside of watching the movie. However, they were hit by a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that was filed not that long ago in November itself, I believe.
Okay.
because there was something that was off or that was wrong on these toys, on these boxes of the doll that were being sold. What was it that was being sued over? What error did Mattel make that they were being sued over?
Okay. Talking about companies getting sued over toys, the first name that comes to mind is Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a Disney lawsuit?
No, it wasn't a Disney lawsuit. It was filed by the mother of a young girl. So it was like a personal, not a company filing a lawsuit. This was a woman filing a lawsuit of her own accord, claiming damages. And Mattel actually also released statements apologizing and has also withdrawn some of the stock, most of the stock, in fact.
Okay, first question. Was the mother's name Karen?
I believe it wasn't. No.
No, okay.
In this case, I guess she has some standing. There is some standing to be upset.
Okay, so the mother was upset. And I'm guessing this was a girl because we are talking toys, which means there was some problem with the dolls. Something sexualized or...
You are not incorrect. There was, I guess, something to do with age inappropriate material.
Were the dolls anatomically accurate?
So there was nothing wrong with the dolls themselves.
Oh, okay.
And I think I mentioned this. There was something up with the packaging.
The boxes. Okay, the packaging. Oh, okay. This is just silly, but I'm going to go with it. Was Wicked written along a corner so that when two boxes came together, it read dicked?
Not even at all. But I love that your mind went there. No, this has nothing to do with the actual thing. Okay.
Okay. I have no idea. You'll have to give me another clue.
Another clue. All right. So like I mentioned, there was some age inappropriate adult content that had somehow made its way onto these toys, which are meant for kids. This had to do with a specific adult website that kids were being directed to.
Did they recreate that meme of the single white girl?
Oh, no, nothing like that. I'm talking straight up age inappropriate. I'll say it's pornography. That kids were being directed to erroneously, I must say, to pornography.
Oh, so they were being directed to a website.
Yeah, exactly. Just connect those two. And if you can't, then I guess, Vineet, you are just a gentleman who isn't familiar with adult websites. Okay, you know what? I'll give this one to you. Maybe it's just something you're not aware of. And I don't know, I guess at this point I just sound like like I'm the only one who's ever known of these things. Because Vineet is clearly a goody two shoes. There's an adult website which goes by the name of wicked.com.
There is? Okay, I really was not aware of that.
It's one of the bigger websites, one of the bigger adult content websites online.
Okay.
It's called wicked.com. And on the box itself, they wanted to redirect kids to wickeddoll.com. But some of these boxes had mistakenly printed www.wicked.com. So kids might go to www.wicked.com, which is not where you would want your young child to go, especially when that's not the kind of content they're looking for.
Okay. You know what this means, right? Now I have to visit that website for research purposes.
Oh, yeah, sure. That we will use that as an excuse. Why not?
No, to be honestly, though, all jokes aside, I've never heard of this website, which is good. I'm guessing it was a newer website, not from something when I grew up, but chalo.
Oh, lots of information. We are gaining an insight into Vineet today. Yeah.
Nope. Moving on. Okay, that was a great question. Moving on to something also in the somewhat entertainment space. Though raised as a Hindu from childhood, X is no longer a practicing Hindu, but claims that the religion continues to influence her life and her music. She has also learnt Bharatnatyam from a very early age, and this has probably contributed to the fact that she is an excellent dancer to this day. X is known for creating videos and performances which achieve virality on social media platforms such like TikTok. She's received numerous accolades throughout her career, including 1 Grammy, 5 Billboard Music Awards, and 5 MTV Video Music Awards. She was also included in the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine in 2023. So who am I talking about?
Interesting. Born Hindu but no longer practicing the religion.
Not born Hindu, raised as a Hindu. Let me just make that clarification.
Oh, interesting. That's a distinction. Okay. Because I don't have an immediate answer, I'll ask you, is this person Indian?
No.
Figured as much. Has won what? 1 Grammy, 5...
5 Billboard Music Awards, 5 MTV Video Music Awards.
Not an Indian person, but of Indian origin then.
No.
Oh, very interesting.
But has an Indian name, I can give you that much. At least the first part of her name is very Indian.
Raised Hindu, no longer practicing. Nope, no idea. Give me a hint, please.
Her debut album came out in 2018
Uh-huh.
and it was an eponymous album. She named the album after herself.
In 2023, she was named one of the top 100 most influential people, right?
Yes.
First name is Hindu sounding.
First part of her name, so her name has 4 words in it, and the first 2 definitely Hindu sounding.
Okay. Ooh. Is it Dua Lipa?
Oh, no. But good guess. Given that Dua Lipa is trending right now following her Mumbai concert.
And I also thought Dua, like Dua or something. I don't know. Okay.
Very nice, but no.
Okay, never mind then. Indian sounding name. Which singer has an Indian sounding name? No, I'll need another hint then.
Okay, it's a very indirect hint. But she seems to be obsessed with animals.
In what way? Like, is she part of PETA?
She had an entire song where she pretends to be an animal. It's a novelty song in which she makes claims about being an animal.
Anaconda? Nicki Minaj?
Oh, no. Again, good guess.
Nicki could be. But Nicki's not necessarily an Indian name though.
Okay, let me just tell you this. The first album I mentioned was eponymous, that is named after herself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's named after her actual name, not the name we know her by.
And this was in 2018?
Yes.
No idea.
Very good dancer, popping and locking. She used to compete in dance battles. She went to a performing arts high school in Los Angeles.
And she's very famous. Like, I've heard of this person.
Oh, definitely. But not many people know that she spent part of her childhood wearing head covering, scarves, singing bhajans at a temple and learning Bharatnatyam.
Oh, and not Indian or of Indian origin and yet had this kind of a life. So was it like adopted by Indian parents or something? Or Hindu parents or something?
No.
Wow. Just some non-Hindu people deciding to take up Hinduism. All right.
Yeah.
No, man, I have no idea whatsoever. Not give me maybe a famous song or something.
Okay, I told you that she seems to be obsessed with animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just give you 2 examples of that. Her debut EP, not the album, but she had a debut EP much prior to that, was called Purr. And she had a viral song called Moo, in which she fantasizes about being a cow.
Oh, this moo and cow. Oh, wait. I heard this. I heard this very recently also.
It was a homemade music video.
The moo thing I remember very specifically.
Yep.
Is it Doja Cat? But what's the Indian name? I don't know what the Doja
Yes,
Indian
it
name.
is Doja Cat.
Oh.
So, let me walk this back. Doja Cat was born Amalaratna Zandile Dlamini.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Her name is Amalaratna.
Okay.
And her first album was Amala in 2018.
Okay.
Amala was born to a Jewish American mother and a South African Zulu father.
What? Where does the Indian name come from then?
Yeah, okay. So, when she was around 7 or 8 years old, she was in California and they lived at the Sai Anantam Ashram,
Oh.
which is a commune in the Agora Hills, practiced Hinduism for 4 years. She wore scarves, sang bhajans, and she learned Bharatnatyam. Then after they left the commune around 4 or 5 years later, she stopped being a practicing Hindu, but she claimed in interviews that it still influences her life and her music. The Bharatnatyam helped her when she started breakdancing and when she joined a professional popping and locking group.
Wow.
And later in 2018, she released her first album, which was an eponymous album called Amala. Not many people know that Doja Cat's actual name is Amala Ratna.
Wow. Okay.
So Doja Cat knows Bharatnatyam. That is the takeaway from this.
That's insane. And the fact that I had no idea that there was a whole Hindu connection there. So cool.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Since we are talking about the USA, I'm going to just go to another American history moment.
Weak.
Oh, today's a weekday for segues. Oh, it's all right. Hopefully the fun trivia makes up for it. So I speak of 1898, in which a New York Times reporter stated that an American soldier had died from a disease so rare that it caused, quote, considerable comment among physicians. This disease since then, in the more than 100 years since they have passed then, has of course been reconsidered, reimagined, understood much more deeply, as most diseases have. But this one is particularly interesting because we might not even think of it as a disease anymore. So let me describe it a little bit more to you. Those suffering from it, often soldiers, would sometimes lose their appetite, others would become weak or lethargic. And this is something that a medical practitioner and writer Johannes Hofer used in his dissertation to describe an affliction affecting Swiss mercenaries as well.
Mm-hmm.
And this term permeated continents and warfare over the next 2 centuries. A lot has been written about it during the Civil War and after that as well. So what disease am I talking about that also derives its etymology from the Greek word for pain? Vineet is already nodding. I feel like I've given away too much. Vineet, hit me with the answer.
The moment you said soldier died of a very rare disease, this already sparked in my head. And the moment you said Johannes, I was like, yeah, I know where this is going. Swiss mercenaries. Okay. If I'm not making a fool of myself by actually thinking of something else, I believe that the answer to the question you're asking is nostalgia.
Come on, Vineet, be better. No, you're right. It is nostalgia. Hey, and you're right. And that's the reason why I said that it's perhaps not considered a disease anymore. Nobody would consider nostalgia a disease as much as an emotion or perhaps an experience. But it has been linked to mental health disorders like depression and post-traumatic stress disorder as well. So again, maybe a medical practitioner, a psychiatrist would be able to explain this better, but I'll do my very best. That over the years, it was initially considered a disease that people were wrecked with. And I mentioned that the symptoms were loss of appetite and weakness and lethargy, but also consumption by sadness. You were consumed by sadness. So it was meant to be an everyday feeling of sentimentality or longing. And the etymology, as I mentioned, is from the Greek, which is nostos, which means home, return home, and algos, which means pain. So return home, pain, which is nostalgia. Yeah, very well cracked, very quickly cracked. You are on a roll today, good sir.
I don't know. So, speaking of roles, and this has nothing to do with roles, so I'm just going to go to the question directly. But it does have a tiny connection to an earlier question, which I now realize I should have asked this so that I would have had a stronger segue. X was a joint venture between Hasbro and Y in 1987. X manufactures all its products at its manufacturing facilities in Ranipet near Chennai and in Goa. In 2014, X surpassed Mattel, hence the segue I should have caught earlier, to become the market leader in the mid to premium segment.
Okay.
It is fitting that Y was Hasbro's partner in setting up X because Y itself was established in 1946 as a toy balloon manufacturing unit. I want you to identify X and Y.
So, X and Y together founded this company, right?
No, Hasbro and Y together founded X.
Right.
So, X was a joint venture between Hasbro and the company Y.
I know X is Fun School.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Fun School growing up, and I remember reading this trivia. So, yes, I know this is an Indian company. I wasn't sure of where exactly it was founded, but I remember it being an Indian company.
Very, very quick crack.
But joint venture between Hasbro and somebody else. What did you say? It makes sense that it was Y which was collaborating with Hasbro because?
Y was established in 1946 as a toy balloon manufacturing unit.
Toy balloon. And that links to Y in a direct way.
So because Y was established as a toy balloon manufacturing unit. And so it kind of makes sense that Y would partner with Hasbro to make toys.
Oh, you're saying Y was started as a toy balloon. Okay, got it. No, not as what it is known as now, I guess.
No. So Y was established in 1946 as a toy balloon manufacturing unit. And in 1987, Y shook hands with Hasbro and created Fun School.
Okay, but what is Y known for today then?
Oh, if I tell you that, then where's the fun in anything?
Oh, Vineet, I think you and I need to have a chat about fun later. But
hey, your idea of fun is performance art of tail malish where people can't see you.
I was wondering when that will come up again in the episode. I'm glad it has come up.
I'm going to hold it over your head for a long time.
As I did hold it over my own head. Okay. So this is a company that started off making toy balloons, eventually partnered with Hasbro to form Fun School, but is known for another product today, presumably. Is this company, okay, tell me this, is this company also Indian?
Yes. They are the Indian partner. Hasbro was the American partner.
Right. Back in the day, you needed an Indian partner to open a company. Right, makes sense.
This company was started as a toy balloon manufacturing unit in 1946 at Tiruvottiur, Madras.
Ooh, should I? It's a very wild guess. Is it some sort of a Indian condom brand like Kohinoor or something?
Okay, I have to applaud your imagination.
Hey, it's not that much of a stretch, haha, pun intended, to go from toy balloon to a condom.
No, it's not too much of a stretch, and I shouldn't be surprised that you, who are a connoisseur of websites such as Wicked, would know about, would think about condoms as the first option, but no, it's not condoms.
I had not even heard of Wicked before I came across this trivia, okay?
Yes.
Hi, Mom.
Talk to the hand. So,
what was he to say at this point? Just saying.
Yes. So, okay. You are weirdly close, as in if you think of what condoms are colloquially called in some cases, that will lead you to what this company does now.
The only thing I remember, and I remember this being something that became a big joke when I was in 600, was that there was an ad, I forget which brand, where this guy goes to a pharmacist and he asks for a chhatri. And the pharmacist looks confused and he's like, chhatri matlab? And then he's like, condom. So that's all I remember. So are you talking about some umbrella manufacturer?
No, not an Indian colloquialism. I would suggest think of an American colloquialism for a condom.
For any of the non-Hindi speakers, chhatri basically means umbrella. So the guy goes into the store and asks for an umbrella and then clarifies he meant a condom. But okay, Vineet says not an Indian colloquialism. So let me try.
Before we this is going to be a very filthy episode, but I've never understood why condoms are called chhatri. Because what happens? No, hear me out on this, right?
No, I already understand where you're going with this. Yeah, but please continue.
Umbrellas are supposed to protect you from the rain.
Yeah.
This is a reverse thing. This is like a reverse umbrella, right? It's protecting somebody else from the rain.
Fair enough. Maybe it's an umbrella from the female perspective.
Yeah.
What else would you call it?
I don't know. A cap?
Cap? How does a cap work in this scenario, Vineet?
It's capping. Like a pen cap.
So I think umbrella, because I guess the circular shape. We should really move on from this. Okay. So
coming back to the question, very serious trivia. Okay, what other colloquialisms for a condom can you remember? Like that will directly lead you to this.
Protection, rubber.
Oh, okay.
Some sort of. Oh, is it a MRF?
Haha, very
the
good.
Only Indian tire company I can think of.
Yes, it is the Madras Rubber Factory. MRF, for those who don't know, was started by K.M. Mammon Maple as a toy balloon manufacturing unit in 1946 at Tiruvottiur, Madras, now Chennai. In 1952, the company ventured into the manufacturing of tread rubber, and the Madras Rubber Factory Limited was incorporated as a private company in November 1960 and ventured into the manufacturing of tires in partnership with Mansfield Tire and Rubber Company based in Ohio. And now they are a very, very major tire manufacturing company in India, and also promoters of young aspiring cricketers through the MRF Cricket Academy. And MRF in 1987 tied up with Hasbro to create Fun School. And in 2014, Fun School surpassed Mattel to become the market leader in India in the mid to premium segment.
Cool. Oh, I had no idea that Fun School came from Hasbro and MRF. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. So I think that's all the time we have for today's episode, but let us wind up by first answering the audience question which I asked at the beginning of today's episode, which was, the first X were converted flintlock pistols that used gunpowder. One of the first actual X built for the purpose was invented by a German chemist named Johann Wolfgang Dobreiner. In 1823, the development of ferrocerium by Karl Orr von Welschbach in 1903 made modern X possible. What is X, Aditya? What is X?
I want to say an air gun?
Oh no. Too early for an air gun.
Okay.
Ferrocerium is the clue.
Ferrocerium. Tell me the ferrocerium part again.
So the modern X was made possible by the invention of or development of ferrocerium by Karl Orr von Wolfsbach in 1903. Okay, I'll give you one major clue. The most famous company selling X right now is very famous for giving a lifetime warranty on their product. And many people have owned it for decades. There are working examples of these from the Second World War, which are still in perfect condition, or at least being used perfectly.
I recently saw a video talking about jeans that are made in Japan and have a lifetime guarantee. But I'm assuming those were never made from pistols. That would be strange. The other thing that this brings me to, because you said ferrocerium, is it something to do with lighters?
Oh, very good. We are talking about the modern day cigarette lighter or a lighter which would produce a flame. So which company am I talking about which gives a lifetime warranty?
I'm assuming since you said the biggest one, then Zippo?
Yes, it is Zippo. The Zippo Lighter and Company was invented and founded by George Grant Bladel in 1932. It's very much noted for its reliability, and it has a lifetime warranty and is marketed as being windproof. And fun fact, if you have an original Zippo that for some reason has stopped working or is damaged in some way, you can ship it to the Zippo company and they will repair it for you. Doesn't matter. And I think they do it free of charge. I'm not sure exactly on that, but it doesn't matter how old it is. They will replace it and make it as good as new for you.
That's pretty cool.
Comes with a lifetime warranty. And I do own a Zippo, a silver Zippo. I can tell you that it is remarkably windproof, but not like in really bad conditions. But compared to a cheap lighter, plastic lighter you get, it is pretty windproof.
Okay.
So that was the audience question for this week. Aditya, what's your pop culture recommendation?
So the first one I'll recommend is the movie American Psycho. And this one is pretty famous already. But I thought it's good to bring it up just again because there was some fantastic performance by Christian Bale. There are some very iconic scenes and it is disturbing in so many ways. It is meant to be. Some of the sexually violent graphic scenes are truly terrifying, and so much more because Christian Bale portrays the hell out of this character. But more importantly, I was very pleasantly surprised to know that this was directed by a woman, which is also kind of cool.
Yeah.
She had a pretty solid grasp on what she wanted to do. Interestingly enough, as far as I know, there was another director on board briefly who wanted Matt Damon. Matt Damon eventually bowed out for various reasons, and the role went to Christian Bale, as was originally planned by the female director, who goes by the name of Mary Harron. Check out American Psycho for a phenomenal performance by Christian Bale.
Nice.
And my second recommendation, which I have not done in a while, so I'm going to do it now, is the song recommendation, What a Life. What a Life is a song by Scarlet Pleasure. I encountered it in the movie Another Round, which by the way is also a phenomenal movie, so take that as a third recommendation. The last scene includes, without giving any spoiler, has this song that is playing in the background. It's called What a Life. And just an iconic movie, iconic song, iconic scene, all of it is great. Definitely check out the movie and listen to the song What a Life. Those are my recommendations for today. 2 movies and a song.
Okay, so my recommendation for today is basically a side recommendation because I started watching this new show. Watching that reminded me of the actress and the other show that she's very famous in. So the actress I'm talking about is Caitlin Olsen, and the other show that I wanted to talk about is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. If you have not watched it, please do. It is just insanely hilarious. Charlie Day, Danny DeVito, and Caitlin Olsen, and what's the name? Rob McElhenney. Yes, who you may now remember as Ryan Reynolds' partner in owning a football club. So, and it's an absurdist sitcom, very dark humor, but it can suck you in completely, and you just get sucked into the world of these complete misfits and, frankly, really unlikable people if you knew them in real life. And Caitlin Olsen, who plays Sweet D in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, recently started an own show, which I found to be very similar in vein to some of the other shows that I like Psych and all. So the show is called High Potential. It's new. It's not so easily available in India right now, so you may have to find your own way of watching it. But it's so far it shows promise. And the second show is something that I'm kindly watching. I haven't made my complete decision on whether it's good or not, but the performance in it by Kathy Bates is amazing. So again, I was like wondering, what is she doing in a show like this? So the show is called Matlock. Some people may remember this. There was another show called Matlock from the early 90s, about a lawyer. This show has nothing to do with that, except the fact that the main character also calls herself Matlock and makes reference to the fact that there was a show in the TV show itself. So it's kind of a meta reference. But it is Kathy Bates, and it is impossible, I think, for her to deliver a bad performance. And she stands out. Like, that's what makes me a little hesitant about the show, is that when you see Kathy Bates acting, everybody else seems mid to low by comparison. Acting of this caliber has no place in a show like this, but Kathy Bates just knocks it out of the park in every scene she's in, and everybody else is like just window dressing, just scenery in the background. It's so far, the premise is okay. I don't know if it'll be a great show, but hey, give it a watch for Kathy Bates, who's still going strong. Yeah, so that's my recommendation. And that's all for this episode. Thank you all for listening in. We hope you enjoyed the show and learned something new. If you liked what you heard, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. It'll help us reach a wider audience, allow more people to enjoy and discover the show. We'd also love to hear from you. Feedback, suggestions, trivia. You can send questions to us at areyouquizzingme@gmail.com. A small piece of housekeeping I just want to mention. If you are sending us questions, please mention the name of the quizmaster in the subject line. Otherwise, we'll just think it's a common email and both of us will see it, and that will not work for us because, as you know, we do not plan these questions in advance. These questions are completely blind. So when you're sending us a question, please send us a question in an email with the name of the quizmaster in the subject line so we know who has to open that particular email. You can also reach us on Instagram at areyouquizzingme or at one of our personal Instagram IDs. We have a community on Reddit which is doing surprisingly well. So that's r/areyouquizzingme. We appreciate your support and look forward to sharing more episodes with you in the future. Hopefully videos. We don't know if that's going to happen as of yet, so I'm not going to tease anything more. And that's about it. We're also available on YouTube. Yes, we are on YouTube. Again, thanks to Aditya. And I'm going to now finish winding up on my third attempt at winding up. So thanks again for tuning in. Let's all wish Aditya a great oil hair day.
Thank you, Vineet. That was very Lord of the Rings trilogy of you.
Yeah.
Just kept thinking it's going to end, but didn't end.
Hey, you do not mess with the Lord of the Rings in front of me. That is a sacrosanct trilogy.
The only person who's allowed to mess with the Lord of the Rings trilogy is Peter Jackson by making the Hobbit trilogy.
Ugh.
Alrighty. On that note, see you guys next week.
Yes, bye.